Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to choose my March TBR. I do have some updates of things that are on my TBR shelf, as well as just some general updates about books and reading. So February was my birthday month and I got a few new book related things. The first one being this shelf behind me. So I got another one of the Skinny Billy bookshelves. My books were getting very smushed together, so I love that I now have this next shelf that I can spread my books back out and give them some room to breathe. I do still need to go through and like reorganize everything. I just kind of moved some over and moved some around, but that's something that I need a little bit more time to be able to do. And as you can see, I do have a few more books up here on my physical TBR shelf, and if I put these books that are not read yet on here, probably would be completely full. So let's go over some of the new books that I have from February. So these four were added in February. The Emotional Life of Your Brain is actually my next book club book. We're only reading about half of it for March, and we're going to read the other half for April. So I'm hoping to get this one onto my March TBR in some fashion. The next book that I have is the new Allie Hazelwood book, Two Can Play. I bought this. I'm actually going to give it to my sister, but I'm going to read it first because otherwise I'm going to give it to her and then she's just going to give it back to me to borrow to read. This one is the new novella that just came out in February, so I'm going to read it and then give it to her to keep because she has an entire Allie Hazelwood collection. So I think this book belongs with her. However, I do want to read it and pass it on to her, and I will see her in March tentatively, so read this before then. And I'm also hoping to get this one onto my March TBR. If not, I'm going to get it read anyway. The next book is People We Meet on Vacation. This is my sister's copy. She is borrowing it to me, so I have another borrowed book added to my TBR. So hopefully getting to read this one as well before I see her. And I do want to watch the movie of this, so that's why I want to read it first. And I haven't read any Emily Henry yet. She has been on my radar to pick up a book and read, so hopefully I have a fun time with this. And lastly is a book that's getting added to my TBR. It is Where They Last Saw Her by Marcia Rendon. I, in January, read one of her Cash Black Bear books, and then I was looking up books that other books that she had written, and I saw this one, and number one, look at how beautiful this cover is. Like, this would make me stop in a bookstore. And so this is a book that I really wanted to read, and then I was opening my presents on my birthday, and my sister, the one who I borrowed the books from, she is the one who got me this, and I opened it and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to read this book. This is a book that's been on my TBR. And she told me when she was shopping for books, she saw this one, put it down, and then ended up coming back to it. It was something about this book she said thought that I needed, and I'm so glad she did because I am really excited to get to read this book. This is also a more local author and an Indigenous author, and that is something that I have been trying to read more of, is both local authors and more diverse voices. So very excited about this book being added to my TBR and getting to read. The next thing is my other sister, she watches my videos, said I needed to stop pulling my prompts out of a Starbucks cup. So she got me my very own TBR jar. So it says Emily's TBR jar. I have not updated any of the prompts. I did dump in all the prompts that I've already used back into this just to see how it fills up. But I definitely think now that I have a pretty jar that I want to update it. She also said that she walked around the store and sticking her hand in jars to make sure that it was big enough for me to use. And she did the little cricket, I think she used a cricket design on there. So absolutely love that. I had a book filled birthday, which I love because books are obviously something that I absolutely love to read and talk about and share. So excited about that in our first month pulling out of my new TBR jar. And then our final order of business is the books still left on my February TBR. So I've actually done quite a bit of reading in February. However, I've been reading books that were not on my physical TBR. I had a ebook library book. I had like 6 audiobooks come available. Actually, it was like 4 audiobooks come available at the exact same time. Some of them I have had on hold for almost a year. So it was one of those things that I had to prioritize my library holds over physical reading. I did read Deep End and returned that to my sister already when I saw her for my birthday. And then a colleague of mine borrowed me a different book, so I wanted to read that and return it quickly. So I have 3 books left on my February TBR. I am currently reading Commonwealth. I will get this book done. There's still about a week left of February, so I will get this one done. And I think once I get this one done, I am going to pick up Threshing of Straw. I am going to start this book in February because I have put this on so many TBRs and for some reason I just don't gravitate towards it. This one is a borrowed book to me, so I want to get that one returned. And if I finish both of these, I'm still very excited to start The Will of the Many. This one I don't think will get done in February. However, I think it's possible I can get both of these done. I do have a long weekend coming up as well. So that is the plan for February's TBR. I think I'm going to put The Will of the Many back on to be picked from, but these 2 are going to get done this month, or at least this one's going to get done and this one's going to at least get started. Speaking of books that I've started, I also, in January, I believe, started Murder is a Must, and I got 32 pages into it, and I just have other things that I wanted to read more, so I decided to put this back onto my TBR, and this one is an option to pick from, even though it is started. Pop that there. These 2 are going to just set down here off to the side. And let's get picking our March TBR. So March, I think, is going to be a pretty busy month again. I have stuff on a few weekends. I've got a lot of stuff after school. So I think let's stick with, I think I'm going to pick 4 books and then decide if I want to pick a 5th book or not after that. So let's mix up our prompts. My very new TBR jar, and let's pick our first prompt. Okay, this is way more fun than picking out of the Starbucks cup. Okay. Our prompt is author's name starting with H. Let's take a look. Here are the options starting with H. We have Lark Ascending by Silas House. This is a book that I got for Christmas. And then I have Allie Hazelwood and Emily Henry. I think I'm going to pick the Allie Hazelwood novella because I would really like to read this and pass it on to my sister. Plus it's short, so I think it is achievable for this type or time of year. So I'm going to add these two back on my TBR shelf and we'll pick number 2. Pick number 2. Pick number 2 is Flowers on the Cover. I'm gonna have to look at all of these because I do not remember what all my covers look like. Okay, out of all my books on my shelf, this is the only one that has a flower on the cover, and I've been really excited to read this. This book came out in September and I purchased it then. It is the same author as Firekeeper's Daughter and Warrior Girl Unearthed, so I'm going to put Sisters in the Wind on my March TBR. So far, 2 really good picks. Let's pick number 3. This is way more fun with the jar. Okay, I think this is the one. One word title. Let's take a look. Okay, so I looked through my entire TBR shelf of physically owned books and I do not have a single one-word title, so I pulled out my Kindle and I think the one that I'm going to go with is ASAP by Axio. I read her other book, XOXO, in 2024 and I downloaded this one in KU, so I've had it on my Kindle for a while, so I want to read that one and get it returned to KU and just get it off of my Kindle. So that one is going to be for one-word title, and we will pop my Kindle on here so I remember that that's one of the books. Pick number 4. Ooh, I think I have 2 here. Okay. Pick number 4 is upside down. Published more than 5 years ago. Let's take a look. Okay, here are my 3 options. I've got more that have been published more than 5 years ago. So People We Meet on Vacation was published in 2021, so that is 5 years ago at this point. So that is an option. My book club book that I need to read, The Emotional Life of Your Brain, was published in 2012, so that would work. And then Never Let Me Go, I think it was published in 2005. Yep, 2005, and this is a book I've been thinking about a lot recently, so I might put this one on. I think out of all of these, I am most intrigued to read this one, and like I said, I've been thinking about this one recently, so I would like to add this one to my TBR. Okay, I think looking at the books that I have on here, I have a novella, I have an author that I usually read the book pretty quickly, I have a young adult book, and then I have another shorter like literary book. I think I am gonna pick one more book, so we'll add these 2 back and then we'll pick a 5th book. Book number 5. Okay, another thick one. Book that has been on for over a year. Well, those are going to be the books down at this end. And I might have to quickly consult my bullet journal for my priority book, so I'm going to check that. Okay, my books that have been on for over a year are Threshing Straw, Commonwealth, which I am going to read in February, because I got this one in February of last year. And then How Minds Change in Someone Else's Shoes. This book I have put on so many TBRs and have not read it yet. So I think it is only fair that I put Someone Else's Shoes on to my March TBR and I finally get this book read. Every time I read the synopsis, it sounds amazing. So I'm putting Someone Else's Shoes on this TBR and it is getting read in March. Let me put this one back on the shelf, do a little reorganization, then we'll talk about all the books that I am planning on reading in March. Okay, here is my March TBR. Book that's been on for over a year, Someone Else's Shoes. Published more than 5 years ago, Never Let Me Go. One word title is a book on my Kindle ASAP. Flower on the cover is Sisters in the Wind. And author that starts with H is Two Can Play. So there's my March TBR. We'll put my February TBR back here. And it looks like I've got a lot of reading to do. So thank you so much for watching and I will see you next time. Bye.